be demonstrating a knit below. A knit below is a technique where you knit into the first stitch on your left hand needle into one or more rows below it and then dropping off this next stitch. So I'll demonstrate how to do it. First I will go ahead and knit a stitch as usual, and into this next stitch I'm going to knit one below. Normally I would knit into this strand, but I'm going to come into the stitch below into the center of it. So if you can see that normally there's a V here, or on a knit stitch makes a V in the front. I'm going to go right into the center. There's like a hole in the center of the stitch. I'm just going to put my needle in there, wrapping my yarn as usual, and I will draw the loop through the same center of the stitch, the same hole that I entered. And now I'm going to remove the stitch from the left hand needle. It seems as if everything will fall off or unravel, but just one stitch does. So now I will knit one, and then I'll knit one below, again entering into the center of the stitch, wrapping my yarn as usual, drawing the loop through right where I entered. Take this stitch off the left hand needle. When you're doing the knit below technique, there is always one stitch in between each stitch, because I will show you in just a minute. Here again, go through the center of the stitch, wrap, and draw through. A knit below actually unravels the stitch above it, so the stitches on either side of it need to remain in knit so that they can anchor that stitch. So here I am at the end of my row, and let's turn and we'll see what a knit below looks like from the back side. Here, this stitch was a good stitch for us to look at. You can see that this stitch captured the old stitch, or the one that was below it, and is holding it in place with the new one. And you can see next to it is just the back side of a plain knit stitch, and it just has one bump in it. Also, when you are doing knit below, the row that has the knit below stitches is then separated by another row of knitting or purling. It has to have the stitches all around the stitch that was knit below have to be secured. So every other stitch or every other row is the most that you would do a knit below. So as I knit across this row, when we turn to the knit side of the fabric, I now will show how we are going to knit below when the stitch above it has a purl bump or was in garter. So here I'm going to come and I'm going to knit below this stitch. We see a bump here, but it's just as when we knit below into a knit stitch. I'm going to come right below that head of that knit stitch from the other side, makes a purl bump. We're going to go right in the center of that stitch as we did before, draw a loop through, take the original stitch off, knit one, and here I'm going to come right below, put my needle tip in there, wrapping as usual. So the knit one or knit below technique is used in brioche knitting, and you can find it in many texture designs. One last time, and there you have it. And that's the knit below. Happy knitting!